Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Incomplete Skeptic. I am proud to say that I have a wonderful guest today, Micahel Monroe. And if you know anything about the Incomplete Skeptic, you know that I'm generally into unmarginalizing voices that are marginalized. Everyone has a voice that can impact our world. So I'm really largely aiming at freeing people's minds and hearts to bring things in balance, to shift consciousness. I feel the world should be a fellowship of equals, not somebody thinking they're above somebody else. So, but today's exploration is a little more biographical. Micahel Monroe is a singer, he's a songwriter, and he just happens to be my favorite musician. And I don't pump sunshine, I got to tell you that. So I'm not just saying it because he's my guest. I've been watching him for a long time, and I've seen his voices help many people rise above everyday challenges. And I'll tell you this much about Micahel and his music. When I first attended his gig, it was at a little place, Chickadee's restaurant. And when I listen to his music now, it helps the coils fall off of my daily living, stress falls off and the like. But when I first heard him, I was really shocked because, when I was a kid, I'm in that era where they said, men don't cry. Well, the first time I heard his music live is also the first time I cried in public, and my tears weren't sad tears of grief or something. They were happy tears. And I didn't expect my heart to be opened wide. And indeed it was. So, and I've heard a lot of people say that, Micahel's music has helped open their hearts, and people are very grateful, as am I. So having said that long introduction, welcome Micahel Monroe to the Incomplete Skeptic. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Timothy. Good to be here with you.
So I'm going to get
shirt, by the way. I'm saying nice shirt again.
Right. This here is a Micahel Monroe sweatshirt. I've got a couple of t-shirts as well. And folks, I've worn holes in these things. There's a picture of Micahel, and he's got his guitar and he plays the flute. And, you can see it's a little worn around the edges up here as well.
I've got a few of those too.
Yeah, I'm sure. Right. I occasionally I'll see you popping one on. Back in the days when I smoked pot, I had a Willie Nelson t-shirt, and I helped him set up a concert way back when. I won't get into all that. And I was lifting weights and smoking a joint at the same time after the concert, and I was doing some bench presses, and the tip of the joint fell off and landed on the shirt and then burned a hole in the shirt. So I didn't have
appropriate.
Right? Yeah, good. And so now I don't smoke pot anymore, but so I don't have any holes in the shirt. I ain't judging, I'm just saying, I don't care what people do, But this is just from straight up being worn so often. So yeah, Micahel Monroe shirt. So let's get into some of these questions, buddy. Yeah. And I guess you're a musician, but why bother? Why do you even play music? Why do you do that?
Because it's the only thing, when I was growing up and looking into what to do with my life, the only thing that really rang for me, the only thing that made sense to me. I mean, early on, I wanted to do something exciting like be an astronaut, and then because of my religious upbringing, I thought I should be a pastor. And both of those fell by the wayside as soon as I picked up a guitar. And I'd been interested in music long before that, but when I picked up the guitar, it just connected for me. And I started writing really stupid songs right away and just trying to express myself as best I could. And the more I did it, the more I felt this resonance with the guitar and with songwriting. And it didn't take long for me to say, hey, I could do this for a living. Although I had no clue of what the business entailed. I floundered for a bunch of years with it, but it's turned out to be an incredible life for me.
I'm glad you chose that life. What do you remember how old you were exactly when you picked up the guitar, and how long the transition came to understand that this is your path?
I picked it up between my junior and senior year in high school. I'd been playing my dad's ukulele before that, and they gave me piano lessons when I was really young, like back when I was about
Mhm.
6 or 7. Um, and in high school, up until that point, when I picked up the guitar, I was in band and choir in church. I just loved music, and my parents both were very into music too, and they encouraged me to be musical. And so it was during that 1 year of college that I had, when I was still aiming at either being at that point, a psychologist or a pastor. I found the music and found people responding to what I was doing. And maybe it was ego, me feeling good about myself and getting some positive attention about it, which is not a bad thing. Uh, but that made me say, hey, this is going to be a big part of my life. And it didn't take more than a year after that for me to say, yeah, this is my career.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't know.
That
It's
was 50
eh,
years ago.
right. The well, in a an off-center sort of way, I'd say music is your ministry, whether you want to call it that or not necessarily. But um, so maybe you still are sort of a universal preacher or minister or something, or psychologist. You like combined the best of everything into your music. you know
Well, yeah, the thing that one of the things that keeps me going with it is the response of people when we have that concert experience together. And I say that because it's very different for me to be practicing or playing music in my home by myself than when I'm playing them with people, in front of people. There's this connectivity and this group experience that's going
Mhm.
on. So
Synergy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So when I hear people say that it got them through a tough time, or that this certain song really resonates with them, uh, I feel like it's more than just, it's entertainment, but it's
Mhm.
more than just that. It's connecting and helping people find their own truths, like what I'm trying to do. In songwriting, that's part of the goal, is to find um, a truth in something that I'm writing about.
I'm not a songwriter. I am a poet,
Yeah.
and so I kind of understand that, but uh, I'm very eccentric in my writing, so I don't have that universal ability to strum that chord, if you will, as you do, I think, because you're able to bring that synergy into the average person's, to elevate the average person to your um, resonance. And it's like when I listen to your music, I personally feel like I step through a portal into a higher dimension. And
Mhm.
I love music, and I can't even imagine a life without it. But there was something different when I walked into your field and I sat down and listened. And that higher dimension thing happens every time, like at the log cabin concerts. And it's not like it's a 24/7 thing, but there's times where I'm watching you and I'm feeling you, because I'm feeling oriented more than anything. The sound has a spirit, it has a feeling in it that's living, a living spirit. And people, I just feel like people come alive. And do you ever, this is my own phraseology, I guess, but when you're playing, do you ever feel like you're channeling or tapping into a universal energy?
Um, I've felt that when uh, in my songwriting, when something really clicks and the song comes together, I feel like, where did that come from? And there are times performing where it just feels so, I'm not sure what the words are, but where it just feels like we're all in the same space,
Mhm.
sharing this thing that uh, is, it's mine, but it's not just mine, the
Mhm.
thing that we're doing. Um, so uh, yeah, it's such an encompassing thing between the physical, the mental, and the emotional, And I mean, it's all vibration. That's what we are, is vibration. So when you get into musical vibration, it's, I mean, it transposes me sometimes when I just pick up the guitar and I strum a chord and I go, oh, that's just beautiful. So simple and so beautiful. But yeah, so music, I mean, it is the universal language, and I feel so fortunate that I get to be part of that.
You know, I can't, I don't even want to ask this question because you're the way you just explained that is a little bit above this question, I guess, in a way. But do you think music helps you rise above the world's bullshit? And I'm not saying the world is bullshit, but it can act out sometimes in a way that's a little bit hard to deal with.
Well, I'll say this, I can be in a crappy mood and not want to go to the gig and just feel like, it's too much. And I get there, I start playing music, and it just kind of all happens beautifully, and I'm in a better mood, and everybody in the room is in a good mood, and I go, okay, yeah, that was silly to be worried or bummed out or angry or whatever I was walking into the situation. And I used to think you got to get your head straight before you do your performing. And there've been times when it just took, a breath before I start singing, and then there it is.
I get that, man. Yeah, I get that. The when the music comes on and that thing happens that you're talking about, I truly feel like I am right with the world. And there's not too many musicians that can do that. And I suppose, I mean, to me, Spirit gave me those words, and it's the words from one of your songs. I am at home with the world when I play guitar, and I just love that. In fact, I think I'll post some of the songs from your your website and YouTube and things.
Yeah.
But so I'm curious, so you got a funny story from your childhood or from your youth? I would say I'm old, so childhood could be anything from early 20s back.
Well, piano lessons. I was kind of excited to take them because I thought the piano was really cool. But then they put this stuff in front of you, and this technical stuff in front of you, the names of the notes and where the keys are. And that part I didn't like at all. And so when I was supposed to be, working on my scales and, following the book of those silly songs that they make you learn, I would just drift off and start playing these chords that I would find, and just like by ear finding chords and singing notes over the top of it. And so I'm doing that in this living room I'm here right now, when I was about 8 or 9. And my mom comes out with Dad, and she says, listen to this. and that was like the first thing that like gave me a positive feeling about, hey, I'm creating something here, and even my mom likes it. So yeah, I'm not very disciplined when it comes to the technical side of stuff. It's like, if it isn't fun, I don't want to do it. And that goes for recording too. I've got my own studio, and I've put in time to figure out how to use it and work with it, but it's because it's fun, and because I can create something and have a positive experience making something.
Perfect. Sounds like you might need a marketer. Oh, wait, you have one.
Wait, I have one. Yeah. Which is, and that's like my favorite part of my life, is that I chose to get into the music thing, but I was pretty bad at the business side of it. I'd get a gig, and I'm thinking everything's going okay, and then I kind of don't have gigs because I didn't spend the time to book them. And then I'm sitting in my apartment pounding my head on the desk going, why didn't I do this sooner? Because now I'm not going to be able to pay rent and try to talk my way through another month, because it takes a while to get the gig happening. And so I did that for a while, and then I got lucky and had a house gig at a place in the Twin Cities here for about a year and a half that barely paid rent, and it was like I was coasting through this thing, barely making it. And Deborah, who I met back in 1972 when I was just getting started, and we fell in love immediately back then, but we're in totally different places, so we couldn't really make it a relationship at the time, although it was, so we were friends. So during that time when I was in this house gig, we reconnected again, and she said, I always thought I should be your manager, even from that first time I met you back in 72. And she was still in high school then, but she was a very forward thinker. And so we decided, hey, it's time to get together and do this thing. And she had left her corporate gig in Florida to come up and manage a broke musician in Minnesota. And ever since then, it's been this great snowball. At times it's felt uphill, but for the most part, it's just like everything has worked out the way we wanted it to, and we would visualize what we wanted to have happen. And she has that great business sense, and it brought me to a place I couldn't imagine, but with being able to afford to have great instruments and sound gear and properties and gigs that paid more than I could imagine that they were going to pay, and people, a huge following. And it's it's mind-blowing for me to think about it now from where I started.
Yeah, I've been trying to promote your music since day one, and just because it improved the quality of my life, not because I'm like some kind of a groupie or something. I'm just not the groupie type, and it seems foreign intellectually, but it seems perfect emotionally, and it's like, and I don't know why. It's like, why aren't people just like have 100,000 likes on this thing, when I post something, and
Well, I
but
had one critic of one of my albums say he could be on the edge for the rest of his life, or he could like become super popular, because of the fact I think that what I write is very personal. And it's not always that hit hooky thing that seems to be the thing that makes people really popular. I don't know if I can say I'm too honest about what I write, although I hear some pop tunes that seem honest, but they're a little superficial,
kind of contrived, even maybe
yeah.
a little bit. It's like they know what makes people tick, but the spirit isn't in it. Yeah. The intention might even be good to some extent, but then some of the marketers get a hold of the stuff and they want them to change certain lines and lyrics, and
Well, and it's frustrated Deb that I don't have that drive to be super popular. I like my life a lot. I like having my own life, and some of the stories I've heard from people who become really popular doesn't work out that great, in terms of happiness.
Yeah, what's the use? What's the use of winning the lottery if you're just going to spend it all in a day?
Well, and I feel like I've won the lottery because I have a great life. The whole starving musician thing. It was that way early on for me, but with Deborah and I together, kind of a yin and yang thing working really well, we've made a complete circle that has worked out great for both of us.
I want to do a little backstory because you said your music is so personal, and I feel it that way as well, and I think most people do. Let's reflect on the backstory of my sister's favorite song by you. It's Here Now. Can you kind of give us a little insight? She'll be tickled to hear you talk about this, I think.
Yeah, I love singing that song too. And it's really about that thing of where I was told to be looking at the future and plan and worry about stuff so that hopefully it doesn't happen. Although now I found when you worry about it, it does happen. And it was about it's like Ram Dass said it years. I didn't really steal it from him because it's been a concept around for centuries of being in the present moment. And it's a challenge, and it's a challenge for me still, because it's easy for me to get into a little bit of worry or a little regret if something comes across my mind, and then I'll have to just sit back and go, wait a minute, look at this beautiful day, look at this lovely cup of coffee that I'm drinking, look at I'm having a conversation with my friend, and my dogs are happy, and then I just go into all the positive aspects of my life, and that helps me to get back to the here and now. But it was that writing that song was about letting go of worry, letting go of regret, letting go of anything that takes me away from feeling what the moment is.
What yeah, I've listened to quite a few Ram Dass things and others as well. And I guess maybe this is in the interest of somebody who might be thinking about getting into music as a young person. What might you be able to tell them you wish you had known when you first started out? Maybe a common myth or something that you can debunk. It might be another way of saying it.
Yeah. Well, a common myth is you can't make a living at music. And there are ways to be creative and make it happen. And some of those ways are finding more, not commercial, but company oriented ways where you can insert yourself as a musician so you can live as a musician and not have a side job somewhere else, construction or whatever, and then try to have the energy after work to write music. I firmly believed and found early on that if I just devote myself to it, it'll happen. It's like if you build it, they will come kind of thing. And granted, it's become more difficult now because back when I was getting going, having an album, recording an album and having something to sell really helped the income part. And it also helped, you could show, hey, I have an album. But today, anybody can say, oh, I have an album, because it's not a physical thing. It's something that you've recorded maybe at home. And it doesn't, not to diminish that, but that anybody can make a recording now. Anybody can put out on Spotify their new deal, but you don't make money on it. You get exposure. You get hopefully people listening to it. And it's gone. It used to be that musicians would go out and do a concert and it would promote their album. And now it's more like if you've got music to share, maybe they'll come and pay to hear you sing, which is where you make the money now. Unless you're like Lady Gaga or somebody that's doing really, really well, Spotify will give them, a decent amount of money. But a lot of musicians are going, wait, it's just such a fraction of the money, and even, CDs are, we're still selling CDs, luckily, to our demographic, which is the older folks that still have CD players, and we'll sell a vinyl once in a while. And I joke about, yeah, we still have some cassettes. And I could probably do really well if I recorded another vinyl, because now vinyl is having a resurgence.
Good point.
Yeah.
I know that you have a flash drive where you've compressed all of your work up until a certain point. I don't know if you're updating it with.
Yeah, we keep updating it.
Oh, okay.
And it's, we found, I could go grab one and show it to you, but
oh, sure.
Yeah, I'll keep talking and go grab it.
Okay.
Yeah, when we saw that CD sales were going down a little bit, I thought, everybody has a computer now, and we could put my music on a flash drive. And so the first flash drive we put it on was just this little square wood thing, and it had my website on it. And then as I was looking with the company, they said, I saw that they had guitars, wooden guitars. And so I had them make this, and then it's the USB drive.
Pretty snazzy.
And people have loved it because people still like to have something in their hands. And you can plug it in your car and do the music, or your computer and make your own set list, playlists. So it was a fun, one of my good ideas, very fun. And we've continued. I've sold a whole bunch of those things, and it's a way to stay with something that is current and still, have something to offer physically to people.
Well, we have one. I got one for my partner in No Crime, and I don't know where it is right now. I didn't think about that. I think she's got it sitting on a shelf downstairs, but it was kind of cool to be able to listen to even some of the stuff that maybe you're not. It's like, I'm glad you put in some of the stuff that you were still working through, and it's like, I love the history. Oh, you're getting this cosign. Who's that? Is that your roadie? Your road
That's
dog?
Rhodey. Rhodey's
All
got
right.
a loud voice, and all the turkeys are walking by in the front, so they're excited about that.
So now Dave Seaton has made some of your guitars, and
Yeah.
so he didn't make the flash drive,
No.
but I thought it was fascinating, the story behind some of your guitars. I don't know if you want to talk about that generally a little bit.
Oh yeah. Well, it was about 20 years ago, I think, that David started. David lives on the Gunflint Trail and runs Hungry Jack Outfitters, and Deborah and I were living up in Hovland, east of Grand Marais. We'd found this beautiful little cabin, and we were slowly transitioning to making that our full-time home. And he contacted me because I'd been playing in the Grand Marais area, and he was curious to see what I would think about his guitars. So he bugged me for a couple of years, and I was holding back, thinking, oh, we can't afford to buy another guitar, and I don't know anything about this guy, and he's just up on the Gunflint Trail, and how could he possibly be making anything I'd be interested in? And so Deb said, just go into town and meet him and have a beer and look at his guitar. And so I met him at the Gunflint Tavern, and he brought out this instrument that just blew me away. And I spent more on that instrument than I ever thought I would on a guitar. But it started to change my writing, and it fit with my inspiration at the time of being up in the North Woods. And that guitar really did change my direction in music. And so now I have that guitar, which is called Flamenca del Rosa, which is an acoustic steel string guitar. And I also have a tenor guitar made out of wood from the bottom of Lake Superior, which is called the Baby Snow Leopard. It's made out of bird's eye poplar and has spots on it. It's blonde, beautiful thing. And a baritone made out of the same wood. It's a much lower guitar. Each of these have a totally different voice. And then I have a classical MIDI guitar that he built for me so that I could get a really nice classical guitar sound, nylon strings. And it also is MIDI, so I can trigger other sounds like drums and bass and keyboards and strings and banjo and whatever I want. And then I have an ukulele that he built also from wood that my dad gave him. So it's turned into a collection of 5. And I think I put one of his kids through a couple of years of college with that. But yeah, they've been an awesome part of my life. Deb's going skating. See you there. See you. Have fun.
Yeah, you've written songs about Deb and skating, and
Yeah.
so I know you had a theme about skating and river and stuff like that, and got some pretty awesome covers. But um, I sing your song. That there's so many, it's hard to pick. But was that, you're talking about her long brown hair and stuff like that, and is that the song where you sing about her long brown hair? Sorry, I've heard
You and
some.
I. You and
You
I
and
is
I,
the name
you
of
and
that
I.
song.
Sorry
Yep.
about that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote that for her as we were after a long friendship and unrequited love period, when we were just starting to get together, yeah, as a romantic relationship and business partners at the same time, which could be thought of as
Mhm,
crazy, but it's been a great connection.
mhm. Well, if it's not crazy, it's probably not worth doing. So, um, so,
Brody,
um,
Brody, come here.
can you want to introduce Rhodey here?
I don't know
Are
if
we
it
able to
can
see him
come
for
up
a
here.
second?
Come up here.
Or
Come up here. Come up here. Up here. Come here. Yeah, up here. It's okay. Give me a hug. Come on. Give me a hug. Yeah, he's Rhodey.
there's the Rhodey. What a charmer.
Yeah, a very loud charmer. You're a
Hmm.
good boy. You're a good boy.
Yeah, very, very active. What
Yeah.
what do you think your biggest
Okay.
accomplishment?
Thank you.
You can frame that
Good
in
boy.
any way you want, but what do you think your biggest talk much biggest accomplishment has been in your career so far?
Well, I think it would be getting to the point where songs that I write resonate with people and uh, create a very positive vibe
Mhm.
with people. The second part of it would be that I've been able to make a career out of being a musician, because it's not. Even though it's felt easy to me and like everything happened smoothly, it a lot of people really struggle trying to get their musical voice out there, especially now where the industry has changed so much and not in favor of musicians. Um,
Mhm.
so, but yeah, I think uh, I wouldn't. Maybe it's determination, or maybe it's just not willing to do anything else.
Mm.
I think that's what it is for me. I'm not willing to give it up to do anything else. Well, at this point in my life, entering my 70th year, I don't think I'm going to change jobs.
No, I hope not.
Yeah,
I'd be pretty pissed if you changed
yeah.
jobs.
Come visit me at the hardware store
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I feel really. I still love singing. I still love
Mhm.
doing what I do. So I'm going to do that till I don't.
Right on, brother. I'm all we're talking about doing something until we don't, and I've been a speaker for 31 years, I guess, and I think as you were talking about what it takes to be a musician, I was thinking, I wonder if I should apply some of these ideas to speaking, because my ego is kind of like the opposite. I have the anti-ego. It's like if I do anything, say anything good about myself, I'm just, I have this imposter syndrome thing going on. I don't even know that's real, but and so I won't promote myself. I won't, and
Oh,
when I do, and I try to force myself to, but I'm forcing myself. And I feel like when I do, I'm just being phony. It's all about, why would anyone hire me and things like that. Have you ever had that voice come up? I mean, I think you've overcome
oh,
that, but
well, yeah. When I was booking myself to try to sell myself to
okay.
a venue or to a producer, I always felt unworthy. Like,
Mhm.
who am I?
Right,
What?
right.
But to try to tell people, yeah, people really love what I do, and it's. I think the trick is, in order to promote yourself, is to just say what you love about what you do. It's like,
Mm,
I just love performing for people. I love it when that magic moment happens in a concert where everybody's on the same page, and I feel honored when I sell a whole bunch of CDs to people that want to bring that music home. Um, So it's more like, instead of saying I'm this or I'm that, it's saying I love what I do in this way. You know what
You
I mean?
know, yes, I think I do. And I actually stopped and I typed, say what I love, say
Yeah,
about, say what I love about what I do. I got it
yeah,
in big red letters in my notes here.
yeah.
And you kind of reminded me of Wayne Dyer a little bit, you know, and he also was in an orphanage as a kid. I don't know if you knew his history, and he's got an interesting story. But, you know, he and a lot of other really good people would talk about speaking to the universe about what you are and what it is that you're doing. And, you
Hmm.
know, and he talked about, say, I am, and then finish the sentence, I am musician, I am a speaker, I am whatever, I'm, and just keep doing that, you know. And I feel like when we, this is almost intellectual for me, and I'm trying to transition to bring my heart into this constantly. Uh, um, but what we aim at, if we continue to aim at it, it's like the world realigns and reconfigures itself to bring into our dimensional interaction with other people. I know it sounds like I'm on acid, but I'm not. You know, it's like it creates it or something, you
Yes.
know.
Well, I'm a
What do you
firm
think?
believer in that we create our own reality. I believe that if you are worried about something, like I've said before, it's going to happen. And if you are feeling really positive about something that you want, not the lack of it, but the oh, that's a beautiful thing, and just appreciate the beauty of it, it can be in your experience. And Deborah and I have done this for the most of our relationship. We started like making little vision board kind of things of things that we want and things we'd love to see happen, and allowing ourselves to look at the possibilities of what we want to see happen, and it's like we keep checking them off. It's
Right?
yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
there's this thing happened in my life way before I sobered up or any of that jazz, you know. And I wasn't in the best place in the world, but I was having this experience, a spiritual experience, and I was just in love with the world, you know, and I was in love with my God as I understand God, you know, and I'm not God thumping here, don't get me wrong, but I just had been in this place that was so full of love, you know, I was just powerfully in love. And I
Hmm.
had this spiritual experience as a result. And this beautiful spirit came into my body. It came into my, I'm going to call it my third eye. Like I had this perfectly square door in my forehead that opened. And it went in there and it went down in my chest, and then that door closed again. And it's been with me ever since. And and when someone tells me something that's a beautiful truth or something, you know, that warms up, and it's been with me. And this was, I was in my 20s when that happened. It's never gone away. And when you were talking about the vision board and the you know, and that whole thing, it started to warm up, and that's how I know something is true or not, you know.
Hmm.
And everyone does this differently, but it's almost like the universe is strumming a chord when somebody says something or something happens. Right now it happened again, you know. I live for those moments.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking you do too, in a musician sort of a way. But this is what your music has done for me too, is, and I get to bask in the sunlight of the spirit, if you will, you know. um you know, I guess I'm going to start winding down here just a little bit because we've got about 13 minutes left. What what can, there's this little story I'm going to just tell, and it's going to sound almost like not even remotely connected to you you maybe intellectually, but I remember there was these two talk show hosts that were there on the East Coast, and they weren't Catholic or anything. They weren't Christian or anything, but they did a piece on Mother Teresa, right? And I guess she was on their show to talk about a homeless shelter they were opening or something, you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
And uh, And, you know, they did their little gig. I suppose there's some money in it for them and all that. And, you know, but at the very end of their interview, these guys, one of them said, well, Mother Teresa, you've spent your whole life trying to do things for other people. What can we do for you? And she said, what you can do for me is find someone who feels totally alone and persuade them that they're not alone. And where this ties in for me is how I felt the first time I heard your song. I felt like I'm not alone. You know, it just opened something, and the people I was around, I just fell in love with everyone around me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big thing. And it was a universal timing thing, I suppose. But, you know, that's where I connect these dots. You know, I'll hear things in life and they just open, you know, they either open us or close us. And there's this poem that E.E. Cummings wrote, you know, if you would seek to open me, I would open like a flower, and you seek to close me, I would gently close, you know. And in that poetic, beautiful approach to life was so important to me. And even when I met my girlfriend to be, we were on the St. Croix River, and she was at this training of some variety or other, and we had met you know, we both had a similar friend, a common friend, and the friend had asked Trisha, said, well, how long you've been single? She said, 3.5 years. And she had asked me the same question. She said, well, how long have you been single? I said, about 3.5 years. He said, what the hell? I just heard, a friend of mine just said that. Maybe you guys are supposed to meet, you know? And so, you know, I go up to this training thing. I believe in synchronicities, you know, so I go to this training thing during a break to meet her. And we're sitting on the side of the St. Croix, and I was dumb enough to not even know that this cloak I had was a cloak for two. It was one of those cuddle cloaks or something. I just got it at a Goodwill or something, and it seemed, oh, that looks warm. And, you know, and she kind of almost laughed when I said, well, if you're kind of cold, you know. And I wasn't trying to, you know, to snuggle with her or anything. I had no, and later on she told me, says, I wondered where you're coming from. It's like, you know, this is a snuggle blanket or something, you know.
Just
And
happen to have on your own, yeah.
right. So, but these synchronicities and these alignments, right? So life is a mystery. That song sums up so many things about how I view life. And I would just love to know the backstory on it, but I just want to tell you this real brief thing is I gave Trisha one of your CDs, and Life is a Mystery was on it, you know, and I said, tell me what you think about Life is a Mystery. And what was not telling her was, if you don't like Life is a Mystery, we ain't going to be a thing. You know, and that's not meant to be judgmental, like I'm up
Litmus
here and
test.
somebody's down there, right? But because it encapsulated so much of the way my worldview had come to at that point. And she absolutely fell in love with the song, and she felt lifted up, you know. I thought, oh,
Oh,
thank God,
yeah.
you know. So, but what's the backstory of that song?
Well, it's for me letting go of stuff that I was taught, like my religious background being absolutely true, that how can anything be absolutely true? And it's not to say that I don't have faith, but I don't have faith in whatever the God was that they were preaching.
Yeah.
I have faith in all of this that we're experiencing right now, which could be called God or could be called existence or whatever, that we're here because we deserve to be here. And how we experience life is up to us. And I love the fact that it's a mystery. I don't have to have all the answers. I don't need to know what's going to happen when I die. I don't need to know how I came to be, other than
Yeah.
I believe I came from my mom and dad. But there's more to that story probably too, you know. So I feel so comfortable not knowing.
Mhm.
And most of my upbringing was about, no, you have to believe in this thing, and you have to be beholden to some god, and um, you have to obey the rules and do the right thing. And doing the right thing can be so different for everybody. And so I've grown to trust my gut more than anything else, and trust in that quiet space that you feel when one meditates, um, and that beautiful space I feel when I'm singing and playing guitar, and uh, that that's life, and that's all I need to know, you know.
Perfect.
So
Yeah.
that's that life is a mystery. Um, I want it to, I'm happy that it remains a mystery, and I think if I could understand everything, then I would be God, and maybe I am at some
You'd
point. At
also be
some,
gone.
I'm gone. Yeah, maybe when I'm
Yeah.
gone, I'll understand. I have no clue what's going to happen, but I do believe that life is deeper than just this. But this is
Mhm.
pretty amazing. Just this, what we see and what we feel and what we experience together. The fact that we're
Mhm.
two different beings having a conversation is amazing, in and of itself. I think.
Kind of like God talking to God's self or something. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah,
uh, I don't mean sacrilege to anyone who believes otherwise, but
yeah.
it's like, how can we be anything less than the most beautiful thing possible? How can anyone possibly think that there's anything wrong with the world?
Hmm.
And what people do might be kind of screwed up, but I think they're trying to do the best they can that and we just
Yeah,
focus on being, in love with everybody and everything. We can change this whole world.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
So thank you for, changing some worlds and changing mine for sure. And so let's do the WWDD question, not the WWJC, but the WWDD question. What would Deb do? What can we do? Because she's your manager, not just your muse and not just your mate, but your manager. What would Deb do to help promote? What should we do? I should say, I guess, to promote you and your music.
Well, word of mouth is what it's all about. I mean, if you hear it and you like it, share it. It's a simple thing. It's kind of like Facebook, but live. You know, if you if you hear the music and it resonates with you, and it's a natural thing for people to do. Well, like when I hear something that I love, I share it with my friends and say, "Have you heard this?" And that's what's been the root of our success, if I can call it that.
Mhm.
Our the reason that this has all worked is that I'm fortunate that I find that what I've written does resonate with people. And like when you were saying, uh, uh, help someone to not feel alone,
Mhm.
it happens the other way around too, because there have been songs that I've written and I've thought, well, this is just me. Nobody's going to connect with this. A
Mm.
song I wrote for my parents, I thought was way personal and way just for me. And I started playing it for people and got this overwhelming response of people saying, "Oh, that makes me think of my parents, and that makes me feel like about my relationship with my partner, and that made me feel not alone.
Mm.
That something I feel is something other people feel too. So yeah,
Michael, I don't have a family like you do. Mine was a little different. And the sister that I referred to earlier, as you've met her, is Danielle. She's not my bio sister, but I have spiritual family now,
yeah,
if you will. And but that song really touched my heart, and I don't know what it's like to have a mom and a dad.
mm, yeah, yeah. Well, and
So thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
Being an emotional baby now. So
Yeah,
all right,
well,
brother.
we
I
all
love you,
go there.
man.
I love you too.
And I'll post your website and your Facebook, and if it's not on Facebook, it ain't real. So or they
Yeah,
would like us to believe. And
right.
but there's a lot going on there. And Michael Monroe log cabin concerts, you know, if you just Google that, you're going to find Michael everywhere. Michael Monroe from Minnesota, not from Finland, who stole Michael's name, you know.
Yes.
And
So it's Michael Monroe Music is the
Michael
website. Yeah.
Monroe
And
Music.
same with the Facebook page. Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you, brother. Peace out.
Thank
Love
you,
you.
Timothy.
Get you on the
Love you.
rebound. See you at the next concert.
All right. Take
All right.
care.
Bye-bye.